Hi, it's me, Ingridine of P. And today we're going to go through some Tumblr memes about autism. I think that I'll also make another one that is Tumblr like resource posts about autism, which will be a heavier and longer video. I think that this video will also be pretty long, so I don't really know how I'll do that video. Anyway, I'm going to show these posts like I'm a museum curator and as if you're looking at these grand works of art. It kind of amuses me to do this because a lot of people think that Tumblr is dead, but Tumblr really isn't. And Tumblr is the place where a lot of autistic people hanged out before, before it became a thing on YouTube. There are probably autistic people on other social media, but I think that at the moment YouTube is the place for autistic people with TikTok. And back then, I think that a lot of undiagnosed autistic people were on Tumblr. Also, a lot of people were neurodivergent in some way on Tumblr, and queer in some way. So it's only now that people are realizing that they have autism. So there's a lot of memes. Anyway, let's get to it. So this one is by SpongeBob Autistic Questions, which is a meme where there's a little boy and a girl that represent society, and they're scared of a rabbit on the floor, just called Autistic People Just Existing, which is unfortunately kind of true. This one is people who don't have autism. You can't diagnose yourself with autism no matter how much research you do. You have to take 3 million tests and pay thousands of dollars before you can call yourself autistic. People who have autism. Yeah, you're autistic. We're diagnosing you. Yeah, don't diagnose people, but but it is kind of true that once you are diagnosed autistic, you start like diagnosing everybody with autism, and it's often quite accurate. I don't know why they don't have autism assessors who have autism. Anyway, okay, this one is by Autobiographical, and this one is about auditory processing disorder. So there's this person who's like talking in hieroglyphics, but like underneath that you can see, what are your cat's names? What? What are your cat's names? Oh, Cora and Cosmo. That's pretty relatable to me. I think that I have auditory processing disorder where it takes me several seconds before I understand like what the person has said sometimes, especially if it's a noisy environment or something like that. Okay, I don't know if this one is a meme, but it's also kind of relatable. The Autistic Food Shop TM, copyrighted, where everything is clearly and obviously labeled. Music is never playing and the layout of the shop never changes. The lights are always very low and all food stocked is like Lidl's, in the sense that all their food is their own recipe, which is never changed. However, I will say Lidl does change their recipes. There was this tomato sauce that was from Lidl that I really liked as a child, and then they stopped making it. So yeah, even Lidl isn't immune from from this problem where my safe foods are kind of, yeah. Anyway, so I thought that one was funny. Okay, this one is relatable to me. Used Carl salesman voice. This Airways autistic gender fluid creature can fit so many spectrums in it. Yeah, so it's the aromatic asexual autistic gender fluid is everything is a spectrum on many different spectrums. Okay, this is also by Autistic SpongeBob. Yeah, pretty self-explanatory. Autistic people hailing the noise-canceling headphones. This one is not really a funny meme, but human beings seeing a variety of creatures and critters. Sort, sort, sort. I love to arbitrarily sort. Yeah, so that's just cute. This one is by my Autism ADHD blog, and it's relatable for ADHD people. Where did I put it? And it's like pie chart 50-50. I put it down carelessly. I forgot where. I set it in a special place. I forgot where. This one is by Dissolving Epiphany. And it's that butterfly, that man seeing a butterfly meme, where the parents see a butterfly and they're like, is this laziness? And what they're seeing is classic signs of disability. This one isn't really funny, but it's unfortunately true. Okay, this one is by, as you can see on the screen, I can't say that, I think, on YouTube. Anyway, good luck sending me mixed signals. I don't even understand the direct one. And then this one is by When Awkward Mom. I guess it's a Twitter post. I talk a lot of shit for someone who can't function if the toe seam on my sock is in the wrong place. Okay, this one is by Une barque sur l'océan. Used to be a high achiever, and it's the autism creature surrounded by all his little hobbies. Now I'm a goblin, and silly little passion projects keep me alive. On the topic of gifted kids, a joy to have in class, aka this child will not be diagnosed for at least 8 years. Which is true, unfortunately, for those of us who were a pleasure to have in class or something like that. That was me. And then we've got this one, trans people, aspecs, basically aro ace people, and autistics. All three hold hands for people acting like headcanoning a character with your same identity is an insult to the character, which unfortunately is true. Like if you say that a character is autistic, then everybody's like, no, you're insulting the character. Which, implies that being autistic is an insult. Okay, this one is more of a question. Growing up, were you a reads the encyclopedia for fun neurodivergent, or a listens to the same song on a loop until you die neurodivergent? And I think I was both. It's by Sketches by Bose. This one is a bit gory. I'm rearranging their guts, but like sorted by color and texture due to the autism. Don't tell people that we've caught on to how they think that autistic people are more likely to be, Hannibal Lecter. But I do find it funny though. Okay, I don't know who this is by, but this is basically all of these wires coupled to one phone pole. My nervous system, after living in fight-flight for almost 2 decades. For me, it's almost 3 decades of being undiagnosed autistic. But yeah, so that's kind of the feeling of burnout. Your brain is fried. Okay, this one is by Soul Reefs. Autism is living by vampire rules. Light sensitivity. Eating the wrong food makes you want to die. Needs to be explicitly invited places. Weird sleep schedule. Eating the same thing every time. Specific rituals and routines. Burst into flames at the sight of a crucifix, etc. I think that's the last one is maybe a thing that was added. Okay, so this is 2 books, and one of them is My Knowledge of My Special Interest, which is basically a huge book, and then My Knowledge on Being a Normal Human Being, and it's basically a tiny, tiny, thumb-sized book. And that's so true. This one's also by Autobiographical. I'm constantly told that autistic people need structure and schedules, but I'm autistic and can't adhere to structure or schedules to save my life. What's wrong with me? And behind her comes the ghost of undiagnosed ADHD. That one's funny. But yeah, I didn't get the ADHD diagnosis, but I think that there is something there. This one is just, can I info it up to you? And it's the autism creature and the ADHD creature. And they're just vibing. This one is from at ADHD meme therapy, which is basically the jealous girlfriend meme, I guess, or the guy who turns around to look at somebody meme. So it's ADHD autistic people, and they are looking at a girl who's giving a full backstory first, rather than staying with the girlfriend here who's directly answering a question. That's relatable. I mean, I have to give so much context first. You can't. Yeah, unfortunately, that's not what most neurotypical people want. They want you to answer the question instead of going on a bunch of tangents first. This one is by Chronic Symptom Syndrome. Displays textbook symptomatic behavior of my own disorder that I am well educated on. What's my deal? Why am I like this? It's like, we know why you're like this. It's because of the symptoms. And this one is Fangs and Fangs. The autistic experience of wanting to be an artist, a writer, a baker, an animator, a mother, somebody's wife, be totally independent, have a large friend group, only have one friend, move away and never speak to anyone again, never leave home, collect stuffed animals, heal your inner child, be a grown-up, stay young at heart, get a job but not something you aren't passionate about, eat safe foods, hate your safe foods because you've eaten them too much, scream and cry about how you feel like nobody understands and you don't fit in, love being different and not fitting in and not being able to do any of it because the seam of your sock isn't sitting correctly. There is something there about socks, right, with the sensory experiences. This one is also about auditory processing disorder, where somebody is saying something, but there's a bunch of like sounds here: slam, a chew, bam, crack, clang. Could you repeat that? Sure. A chew, bam, clap, clang, clam. Oh, I feel so sad for this poor autistic person here. But yeah, so I relate, unfortunately. Okay, this one is by Safia. Autism screening quizzes be like, do you take things too literally? And then ask 50 of the worst worded questions ever dreamt up by man. That is true. It's so ironic. So yeah, the quizzes need to be better made. I think that autistic people need to make them. I don't think that they are made by autistic people in the first place. This one isn't really a meme, but mess up because you misunderstand instructions. If you were confused, you should have asked for clarification. But I didn't know I was confused. I thought I had understood. Yeah, so basically you can't know what you don't know. And this has happened to me several times off at work. Okay, this one is an unofficial autism post by Cosmo Girl. There's something very wrong with me. It's called I don't want to do anything ever. And they said it's chronic. That's the unofficial autism post. Yeah, we don't want to promote the fact that autistic people are lazy. It's rather that laziness doesn't exist and that there's executive dysfunction and motivation problems that are a sign of neurodivergence. The Tisming wrote, I honestly forget that autism mums say autism won today to mean that like their kid had a meltdown and that they are ableist. Like, no, autism win means something like I found something cool about my special interest, or I managed to avoid a meltdown, or I got to info dump. Autism win is good. Yeah, I really like that. It's, autism pride. Autism won, that's great. This one is just broke one of my made-up rules that only I have to follow. And it's this guy suffering in the snow. Yeah, that's kind of the feeling when you have rigid thinking as an autistic person. This one is by Anarchist Frog Posting. Sorry, I'm just dumb. In parentheses. Having ADHD my whole life has meant that I've been criticized heavily for making mistakes that come part and parcel with the condition. Even the people I love the most in the world have chastised me for mistakes that I spend much of my life worrying about and trying to avoid. It's much easier to tell you I'm just a silly guy than explain to you that no matter how much effort, how much thought, how much stress I put into avoiding these same mistakes, I will keep making them over and over again. My brain is structurally built to thwart me throughout it all. And in the end, all that comes up is, sorry, I'm just dumb. Unfortunately. On the subject, you ever come across someone who's academically super smart but also might be the dumbest person you've ever met? Well, that person is me, basically. This one's short. Do not interact. I can't hold a conversation. An official autism post. If your autistic friends also think you're autistic, then that's not self-diagnosis, that's peer review. Afro Ariki Leo. Rejection sensitivity is so fucking lame. Like, boohoo, look at me. I felt mildly ignored for 30 seconds and already started planning my own funeral. Like, bitch, chill. It was never that serious. By DM. Yeah, rejection sensitivity dysphoria is one of the worst things, and it literally feels like this. Then we've got this one, which is also tagged BPD. Stop. This is the mom who finds you lying on the floor. Stop being lazy. That's the mom saying that. Me showing clear signs of disability, and it's just you like lying on the floor crying with all the papers and your computer around you. That is unfortunate. This is by Save the Neurotypicals. I'm not disabled. I just struggle sometimes with things other people don't generally struggle with, and I have to develop elaborate strategies to get the same result. Wait. Yeah, so basically this is my response to anybody who says, oh, you're not disabled, even if I have autism. Yeah, I'm not disabled. I just struggle with things. Yeah, think about that. The Futurist Chrome says, the neurodivergent experience, 20% of the time. Wowee! I love my passions and interests. They make me so happy. I want to jump up and down. Whee! And then it's that weird smiley face with colon 33333. 80% of the time, this mind is a prison. This one is by Vivian Suchnerve. Never stop speaking darkly funny to me that doctors struggle to diagnose autism while a 12-year-old bully can do it in 10 seconds flat. Which is unfortunately basically a story of my life. All these 12-year-old bullies like just see the autism on you, even if like it takes you 28 years in my case to get diagnosed. This is a handy chart for the spectrum of overwhelm. You've got shutdown at the top, 404 error, and you have meltdown at the bottom, which is either rage beast or wet beast. And rage beast is like really angry, and wet beast is like crying. And I relate to all the beasts and to the 404 error, unfortunately. See, the thing is, I don't feel like I've ever worked hard enough to have earned a burnout, which is probably how we got here. Yeah, that is unfortunately how I see things. I'm like, wait, but I didn't work hard enough. That's why I'm in burnout, when actually I've been working really, really hard and then I still end up in this place. And that's because of the overwork that I end up in this place. This one is gonna stop telling people I'm autistic. It just alienates me more. Now I'll say, I'm overwhelmed and leaving this party where everybody is drunk. It smells like Febreze and cat litter because I'm a Virgo. They'd be like, yes, Earth sign, go home and alphabetize something, queen. Yeah, unfortunately, I think that there's more acceptance for people who are into astrology than into, actually understanding what autism is. I mean, I'm part of the MBTI community, but like, people don't understand MBTI, so that wouldn't work. This is the procrastination, exhaustion, and executive dysfunction circle. This person just lying on the floor, faced with an important task, leads to get scared by at least one part of it and avoid it. Blink. Months have passed, and task is now even more important. And then faced with an important adult task. It never ends. Okay, this one is just happiness at the fact that Autism Speaks Canada has died. It says, Autism Speaks Canada is concluding its operations on January 31st, 2025. And it's basically a picture of dolphins and rainbows because Autism Speaks is not a good organization. This one is about ADHD, executive dysfunction. It sucks because I'm sitting there and my brain is like, you're wasting time, 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 you're wasting time. No work done, no rest gained. Literally no point in this at all. Which is literally the feeling of executive dysfunction. This one is also executive dysfunction. I should do that thing I like doing. And then he's just sitting there. Ah, so relatable, little guy. Me, you literally have a disorder. This is symptoms. No, perhaps my soul is rotten. By vampirisms. Outfits for Peter is crazy bitch. I only have so many clothes. Which, yeah, true. This is by Xelas. Having verbal shutdowns is an interesting thing because sometimes it's in theory I could speak. However, there is a brick wall in my throat refusing to let the words out. And sometimes it's words do not exist because the thoughts to word translator is malfunctioning. And sometimes it's if I add the sound of my voice to the cacophony, I will explode. And sometimes it's you interrupted me several times, so now speech is forbidden. And sometimes it's just I haven't talked to you in a while, so it will take some time to adjust. And sometimes it's a mixture of the above. Which, yeah, I don't have much verbal shutdowns, but some of these are relatable. This is for you autistic people. A brief period of boundless inspiration of drawing, writing, which is symbolized here with a bunch of flowers. And around it, there's all of this frustration. Why won't I create? Will I ever cook again? Save me. New hyperfixation. Hyperfixation, save me. Which, yeah, I mean, I'm not an artist, but I feel similar in the making of my videos and in, doing things with my hobbies. Sometimes I have a brief period and then the rest of the time I'm like, will I ever cook again? So relatable. Okay, this is a whole bunch of posts, but I can access the medical care I need. My motor skills are outstanding. Noise cannot hurt me. Repetitive noises do not make me uncontrollably angry. I understand social cues perfectly. I'm aware of the passage of time. Cooking is not an evil sensory nightmare. Doctors love accommodating my autism. Such a world. I wish that it was positive. This is me. I love vaccines, autism, abortions, homosexuals, sex changes, and crime. This one's simple. It'd be cool if I could... ... function. Madame says, God, that ADHD struggle where you're so motivated to do something, but there's just like a blockage in your body that stops the motivation from turning into anything. So you just like vibrate, sitting there like, yeah, man, I totally want to do that right now. Doesn't. So this is an image of like the motivation should go to the hand here, but the motivation is stuck here by this mysterious blocking wall inside the body. I don't know. I don't have ADHD apparently, but that is relatable. Okay, that's it for autism memes. But this one, I wanted to end on this one. It's a skeleton that's just start. You don't need permission. Art, craft, second book, cake, writing, that show. People say it's good. Any new skill, making friends. The time will pass anyway. So yeah, with that, I'm ending the video. So hope you had some fun looking at these, or at least, an inside chuckle. And see you in the next video. Bye.